We've said that the citizens' militia, the National Guard, was based on districts or quartiers, with far more battalions coming from poor ones. Now every battalion had, in theory, 4 and only 4 cantinières. Women who made meals, cleaned, gave general domestic help, and, if they wished, fought alongside the men. The reliable Bernard Noël, a historian, writes, "The women who served as cantinières also fired rifles with the men, and volunteered for dangerous missions to bring in the wounded. The allocation of 1 per company was usually exceeded." But where, then, were the images, the sketches, the photos, the anecdotes? There were so few. Robida's gentle satire, a bad-tempered cantinière sketched by Bertal, real name Charles Albert d'Arnoux, and then this one we've seen, but otherwise nothing. Well, it's true, I found a careful, convincing drawing by Daniel Vierge, an artist for Le Monde Illustré, signed and dated. It could be a cantinière. But something's wrong. It's dated Montmartre, 17th of June, 1871. Long before then there were no armed cantinières, or indeed any armed women still left alive in Montmartre. Was it specially posed after the massacres? I don't know. But then at last I unearthed 2 police photographs taken after the Commune, and just before the mock trials. Anna Rothschild, cantinière, condemned to deportation for life. And Hortense David, a gun lair for the Commune artillery, deportation again to a Pacific island. And soon after that I realized I'd overlooked, in Dayeux's collection on my own bookshelves, a cantinière, with some of her company of guards. Picture quality rules out enlargement, but I can highlight her. See? Below her, guards eat out of mess tins. Against the wall, civilians have been, as it were, parked. Relatives, I suggest. Who's the cross-legged girl? They're surely all from the same quartier, a poor one. It's almost like an extended family. And another cantinière with another company. This time she and a patient are acting for the camera. I'm sure this group too are neighbours. It seems to me that in many quartiers the distinction between the National Guard and the people was increasingly a matter of uniform. The men and women in these pictures were probably from districts in northeastern Paris like Ménilmontant or Belleville, and here there was greater loyalty to one's quartier than to the government. Now, in the last video, showing pictures and writing about the women, I could have put more weight on 2 aspects which were emerging. One was that women became so completely involved in spontaneous actions like the creation of the canteens. And then I suspect it was a woman who found out where the guillotine was stored. It was taken to the Place Voltaire, broken up and burnt, under Voltaire's benevolent gaze. I've mentioned the example of the canteens, and we'll see in another video that women were the front fighters at Courbevoie, and later again a battalion of them formed, and they held the Quai Place Blanche for 2 whole days. But the women as cantinières, well, they appeared, at least to me, to be gaining in the working-class battalions a role of respect and authority, or perhaps a kind of holding role as the company mums. But doesn't even the natural composition of these 2 photos suggest a centrality? Soon the women were to give a vital lead to their menfolk. Not since the revolution of 1789 would they have played such an important role in a great movement of radical change. It's It's almost shameful that there's only one serious study by the fine historian Edith Thomas of the part played by the women in the Commune. But back to the men, the guards, and the next video.